And I was, of course, last one. You have the opportunity to go on deputation, like I mentioned in detail, that I had gone to Ministry of Communication and IT. I had also got the opportunity to go to the United Nations Peacekeeping Force at Democratic Republic of Congo. Our role there was also twin role was there, of course. I was security and int officer also, as I had mentioned, that it is not only the accounts branch job you do, there are certain other additional duties are also given depending upon your interest and your caliber. You are given assigned those roles also. I was given the security and int officer in a foreign land, which was full infested with a lot of militants and all. And secondly, my role was also to look after the complete financial activity of Indian aviation contingent, whereby I was dealing with the United Nations peacekeeping mission at New York to get my reimbursements, because Indian government, whatever they spend in the foreign land, from United Nations peacekeeping force, they were supposed to be getting. So these are the kind of various avenues and opportunity in the accounts branch of Indian Air Force. It's a little longer answer, sir, but I felt it was necessary to give the holistic picture, sir.
Absolutely. In fact, sometimes you feel that no, you've not gone into the nitty-gritty nuances, while I have spent more than 31 years in the Air Force, yet there are certain aspects of what you have covered. Perhaps I did not know about it. So a great, I think, learning for those people, awareness for those people who are wanting to join the accounts branch. And yes, I must definitely point out here that being in the Air Force, it's absolute privilege to have the accounts branch in the service, right? The kind of financial advice, the kind of, I remember even when I was my first posting, we had an accounts officer, that time Flight Lieutenant Ramesh Babu, if you recall, right? So he came to my room and he told me, okay, this is how you're going to plan your finances, your savings, etc. He made a chart for me, which was covering about 30 years. And it was, in fact, I still preserved it. And he said, okay, after every time you get an increment, you put it in your PF or things like that. So, the advice on this financial matters is extremely crucial. And
sir, you are right. Though this is not a mandated role for absolutely. It is not written by the book, but yes, at the same time, I would give you a few more examples of how you can make the difference in people's life, sir. Because, yes, sir. Because
that's why I wanted to, highlight this, at a personal level also, though it is
yes,
going outside the domain, which is the official domain, but being in the same service, being together, I mean, it helps individuals to a very great extent.
Absolutely, sir. You can make the difference in individuals' life. Many people had come, or even now they have been coming, even because such kind of bonding and the credibility gets established, that which is a lifelong also, like whether for the investment of the individual, how to invest the your surplus money or the saving during the service. That is one. A crucial decision like quit, or take the premature separation from the service, or not to take the premature service severance from the service. Such kind of decisions were also taken or were also based upon our advice in many of the cases, whether it is the marriage of somebody's daughter is there, the higher education, huge fees to be paid, how to manage those are the additional aspects. And of course, this depends upon the individual. You have to acquire those specific knowledge also. Like if you have to, this may not be given in the mandate of your official functioning, but then you have to acquire those nuances of the market. You have to find the various modalities of funding. So all these things you need to know. You have to upgrade your skill through various, whether by enhancing your education or through your own personal knowledge. So these help to make the difference in the lives of the people in the armed forces.
Absolutely. So a lot of welfare activities, ex-servicemen, the widows, and so many people, I think, they benefit tremendously from the presence of the accounts officer or the accounts branch warriors. Now, if I might ask you, there is an apprehension, or there is a concern about the audit, right? So there is a government appointed organization called the CDA, right? Controller of Defense Accounts. These are different for Air Force and for the Army. So how is it that, the role of CDA, how do you see that role of CDA vis-a-vis the accounts branch, or what does accounts branch do? If you could clarify that.
Absolutely a very valid question, and which is actually in the civil parlance, and many people have been asking me also, and because a lot of cobwebs are there in the society, that what role vis-a-vis, because many people think that we are the CDA people, and CDA is, I will answer it in two parts again. Basically, we are the competent accounts officer, the accounts officers in the uniform. Their major role is to manage the finances, complete fund which is given by the government of India, and to make the payments, to make the payment to the people. Our role ends there. And of course, when you make the payment, you have to have the internal check and internal audit. So because that is the preliminary checks and tool method which you have. And once the payment is made, most of the activities, transactions after the payments are done by the civilian organization, which is called Controller of Defense Accounts. The people, their role is the post audit. As far as Indian Air Force is concerned, their role is post audit, where our job ends, their job starts. So when they go for, when the accounts, complete accounts of the complete activities of the finance accounts, which goes to the Controller of Defense Accounts, they take their lens, that microscopic lens, and they audit each and activity, financial activities, what kind of internal check we had instituted, what methodology we have adopted to make the correct payment to the correct person. All these things are done by the civilian, and they are the Allied Service Officers, Indian Defense Accounts Service, IDAS. So they are a different cadre. At the officer level, they are IDS, and there are Group B and Group C officers under below. They are called the auditors, and the senior auditor and the accounts officers. So this is another audit role. So I will come to the third layer of the audit. The third layer of audit is the CAG audit. We call it CAG, and Controller and Auditor General of India. So even after the audit by our internal auditor, mind it, CDA is called the internal auditor of the Ministry of Defense. They are not the external auditor. External or the statutory auditors are the CAG, Controller and Auditor General, who are the auditor of the Government of India for all the ministries, and so is the Ministry of Defense. So even after the audit by the CDA, they pick up few things at random, and at a very, very crucial transactions, etc. And the major irregularities are highlighted by them if there are any. So third level of audit is by the statutory audit of the CAG. And these people are also, these officers who do this audit are also the allied civil servants. They are called Indian Audit and Account Service, IAAS. So these are the three layer: statutory audit, internal audit, and competent branch of the accounts branch, who are the internal checker or the accounts officer dealing with the finances. So this is the three things.
So yes, I must point out to the viewers here one thing, like what Marshal Khatri said, that we make the payments for within the service. So I would put that word expeditious payments. Now that is right, where the role of the accounts branch comes. Though in the normal case, what it goes firstly for pre-audit and then you get paid in the other services. But here, it is, I think, paid and, with due precautions, of course. And thereafter,
It is
perhaps,
post-audited.
yeah. So there is, I think the genesis of accounts branch in the Air Force was basically because of the frequent mobility of the entire squadron and things like that. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yes, yes. Absolutely, you touched the absolute right chord here, because the swiftness is the soul of Indian Air Force. We all are aware about that. Within few minutes, within few hours, one has to move from A to B place and to take on various operations or the exercises or various transactions in the armed forces. So when we have the civilian organization, I'm not saying anything adverse for the civilian outfit, but at the same time, one is that they are not co-located with us in most of the time. B is their procedures are so lengthy. There have been, of course, they are also now on the progression path and they are also now digitalizing. But when the accounts branch was created, that time their procedures were very complex and lengthy. And it would have entailed few days, and where the movement is to take place within few minutes. So how was it possible? To bridge this gap of few days to few minutes, this branch was created. So the idea behind this was, first you make the payment or to give the dues to the individual. When an individual is moving from A place to B place, he needs to be given some allowances, some dues to him, so that he can function at the next station or he can leave some money with the family. So that was one. And second is, even for the store accounting, I'm talking about whatever stores we are taking from A place to B place, even that accounting also becomes very, very difficult if any other outfit or other organization is involved. So therefore, accounts branch officers or the men, they undertake this activity in full swiftness and within to meet the operational requirements. So branch is created right to bring the improvement efficiency in the operational activities. We are in the support role, and we had to do, or we are to do, strengthen our operations through this.
So I think it is typical of the organization of the air forces across countries also. Having the accounts branch within the air force. I think
many countries have, like Bangladesh has got, UK has got, UK also has got, Pakistan has got, many countries have got, but of late what had happened that with the digitalization and all, many countries may not be having also, but definitely we have an edge. If the branch is there, definitely you have an edge, and that is how this branch has been surviving through for last so many decades.
Now coming at a personal note, if I might ask you, to share some of the challenges that you have faced in your service career as an accounts officer or as an Air Force officer. You have been across the length and breadth of the country, all over and abroad also. So what have been your personal, challenges?
This could be my personal challenge, but this challenge generally is faced by most of the accounts branch personnel or the officer also, because you are a person wearing a uniform, you are a competent member of the armed forces, you are supposed to be knowing, you know also all the difficulties which a competent force personnel goes through, because you yourself are the undergo this.
Yes.
So when the plethora of rules and regulation of the government of India are at one side, and other side is your human face of the individual, and both have to be matched. Many a times you face a dilemma whereby you may have to probably interpret a particular rule or a particular provision of the government of India to give the legitimate due in expeditious manner to the individual, or to get through in a macro role. I'm going little higher, to acquire a particular equipment in the armed forces which is required operationally to make the force more efficient. So many a times I also face the similar kind of a dilemma where the rules were not very clear, as it happens in the Government of India rules generally, not only in this field but in other fields also. The rules are, one is those rules are very lengthy, second is those are very complex, and third is in the exuberance of putting checks and balances, those becomes very difficult to implement. So when you face this kind of challenge, and other side you see a person dying and you are not sometime authorized for a particular payment to a civil hospital or so. I also faced where we took the decision, people called me up, there is no MH in this station, we are going to a civil hospital, which was not covered. Now, of course, the rules are changing, but at that point of time, so we said, no problem. Especially the life of a person is more important, and life is to be saved at any cost. We will manage how you will. First, you admit that person in that hospital, which may be very expensive, which is not authorized as per the Government of India provision, but you admit at that point of time. So person got admitted, life was saved, he came out. Now the same question that, yes, the bill, how to clear that reimbursement of the bill. We fought, though it took some time, but it got paid as a special rule. We had to go to the Ministry of Defense. After all, everybody is a human being, and nobody can deny the legitimate right to an individual. And of course, as the time progressed and people kept on facing these kind of problems, the rules also evolve. So that is how now the rules got evolved, not only in this particular field, in many other things, many other difficult areas where we face similar kind of dilemma. The rules got changed to the more practical aspects and to more practical way of life. So this is one. Second is, yes, sometimes at the cost of your discomfort, you had to. I remember in 1987 when the Brass Act was there, and there was a mobility at 2 o'clock in the night. And that time, once for all, I felt that time that you are really part, and even that time, the vehicles movement was also not there. And it was, you would also be remembering, it was sometime in the January 1987. And I specifically remember that day was 23rd January 1987. And when I got a call, and call was also urgent call, and I was staying in a civil that time in Srinagar. Those days were very peaceful time in Srinagar. So I got those days PP call was there, and my landlord came. There is a call at 1 o'clock in the night that, look, there is a call from AirForce Exchange. And I attended that, and they say, you come immediately. I said, where is the vehicle? I mean, it is minus 13 degree outside, 23rd January 1987. I picked up, I didn't have the vehicle that time. I didn't have car that time. I had Bajaj Chetak. I picked up that car. I kept my keys there, and I reached to Air Force Station, opened my all that treasury box, and till morning at around 5 o'clock, I made the payment to the whole of the squadron. And then the squadron moved at 5:30 in the morning to a different location of locations. So these kind of challenges, which are very satisfying and gratifying for us, and which are memorable, and you can really feel you are contributing to the nation in that manner.
Right. Certainly, I think, these are the kind of personal experiences we all have in our lives. And like you said, these are the times where the actual, the utility or the benefit of having an accounts branch definitely comes in. Right. I remember, been in radar units, a lot of mobile radar units, getting that impressed money and things like that. I mean, all those things are very, very advantageous, right? So, Vice Marshal Khatri, if it's been a very comprehensive, I would say, information that you have given out for the aspirants. Any advice you would like to give to the aspirants who are wanting to join the accounts branch?
Definitely, sir. Having spent 36 years in Indian Air Force, and as you had already mentioned, in a various different kind of roles which I have worked, and which has not only helped me to come up to this level where I was the head of the branch, accounts branch in Indian Air Force, which is even helping me now at this stage. Post-retirement, also I was selected or taken by the Ministry of Defense as advisor, keeping in view of our unique role, which is all courtesy through the branch which I had acquired. And I was given the various projects in Ministry of Defense, and I continued for some time, and thereafter I got another good opportunity with the Insolvency Professional Agency under Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Again, I come back to the roots where I had started when I was trying to do the CA and cost accountant, and now I am heading that organization now, being the managing director of Insolvency Professional Agency. So my take or my advice to the young generation is, whatever you are trying to do, in whatever field you are trying to do. Yes, Indian Air Force means everybody clamors for the flying. Yes, it is any child's dream profession is flying. You may be cut out for that, you may not be cut out. All may not be cut out for that. You are aware, sir, you yourself have been the assessor in the SSBs. And if you are not able to go into the flying or in the direct operational role, there is a lot through the support role also, which I felt that we could support the operation in various through this role of accounts also, whereby you could make the changes in the organization, changes in the personal life. And very important is, you have to upgrade your skill. While even after joining the armed forces, you cannot be stagnant. You have to, like after joining, I did various courses in civil. I did my law. Thereafter, I did my MBA from Faculty of Management Studies in Delhi. Then I did the Master of Philosophy. There is a huge opportunity to do various courses, whether it is a College of Defense Management, NDC I could do. So you need to upgrade your skill, and whatever you do with the passion. You will definitely come out with great success and achievement. You definitely will be successful in life. So you have to have the passion, and whatever you do with the dignity, do with the great self-pride and self-esteem. Nothing is inferior or nothing is this thing. Today, when you are Air Vice Marshal and you are given the same kind of respect which any other profession or other branches would have. So my advice to the people is, be diligent and be professional in whatever you do, and do it well. That's it.
Okay, so thank you very much, Vice Marshal Khatri. I'm sure the aspirants would benefit a great deal from your advice and your experience, right? Because I mean, it is very revealing. The main purpose, like I said, is to spread this kind of an awareness. I had a chat with the former AOA, Air Marshal Rana, who talked about his experience of the Adam branch and being a fighter controller, right? I mean, all these things are unfortunately not much in public domain, and that's why my effort was to get the veterans who have loads of experience to share their knowledge. So wishing you all the best in your future endeavors, in your second innings after the Air Force. And thank you very much for sparing the time.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me an opportunity, and all the best to you and all the best to our dear aspirants also, and wish you good luck. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.